Imagine this. It's a typical busy afternoon in a major city. Cars honking, people rushing by, the usual chaos of urban life. Suddenly, in the middle of a crowded street, a young black teenager stands next to his car, his hands raised high in the air, his face filled with pure fear. Two police officers tower over him, their voices sharp and commanding, guns drawn as if he's some dangerous criminal. The crowd starts to gather, phones come out and whispers spread. What could this kid have possibly done to deserve this? He's just standing by his own car. But then, from the edge of the crowd, a woman in casual jeans and a simple jacket pushes forward. She doesn't look like anyone special at first glance, but there's something about her calm determination that makes people pause. Her name is Alice Brooks, and she's about to turn this entire situation upside down. What happens next is a powerful, real-life-inspired story of courage, injustice, and one woman's stand that changes everything. Stay with me, because this tale will leave you inspired, angry, and ready to demand change. And if it moves you like it moved me, don't forget to hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Real Life Stories now for more gripping tales that remind us why we fight for what's right. Let's dive in. The sun beat down on the bustling downtown street, casting long shadows across the pavement. Jamal Thompson, a 17-year-old high school senior with dreams of becoming an engineer, had just parked his old Honda Civic after a quick errand. He was rummaging through the glove compartment for his dropped keys when he heard the sharp command, "Hands where I can see them." His heart skipped a beat. Looking up, he saw two officers approaching fast, Officer Walters in the lead, his hand hovering near his holster. Jamal froze, slowly raising his hands. I was just looking for my keys," he stammered, his voice cracking with confusion and fear, but Walters wasn't listening. "Step away from the vehicle, now!" The second officer circled around, blocking any escape. To Jamal, it felt like a nightmare. He'd done nothing wrong, just a black kid in a nice car in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time. From across the street, Alice Brooks watched it all unfold. At 48, Alice was the state's governor, but today she was incognito, dressed down to blend in during a rare day off. She had been walking back from a quiet coffee shop, trying to escape the constant demands of her office, when she spotted the scene. Memories flooded her mind. Her late father, a civil rights activist who marched in the 1960s, telling her stories of similar stops, of young men humiliated and endangered for no reason other than the color of their skin. "Justice isn't given, Alice," he'd say. "It's taken one stand at a time." Her blood boiled. This ends today, she thought. Without hesitation, she crossed the street, weaving through the growing crowd of onlookers. "Step back, ma'am," Officer Walters barked as she approached, his eyes flicking toward her dismissively. But Alice didn't stop. She locked eyes with him, her voice steady and commanding. "Officers, explain your actions right now. Why are you detaining this young man?" Walters' face reddened. "This is police business. Move along." The crowd murmured, phones raised higher. Alice stood her ground. "It became my business the moment you surrounded a teenager without cause. What crime has he committed?" Jamal's hands trembled in the air, his eyes wide as he glanced at this stranger defending him. Walters shifted uncomfortably. "We received a report of a stolen vehicle matching this description. He fits the suspect profile." Alice's eyes narrowed. "Profile, and what exactly is that profile? Young and black." The words hung heavy in the air. Whispers rippled through the crowd. "Wait, isn't that? That's the governor." Someone recognized her from the news. Phones zoomed in. The revelation spread like wildfire. Walters froze, his bravado cracking as he realized who he was talking to. But Alice wasn't focused on the recognition. Her gaze stayed on Jamal, seeing the fear in his eyes, the way his body shook. She knew this wasn't just about one stop. It was about a system that allowed fear to dictate power, that profiled based on skin color rather than evidence. "Did you find anything in the car? Weapons? Stolen goods? Or are you just assuming guilt because he fits a description?" Walters muttered something about suspicious behavior, but his voice lacked conviction. Jamal, gathering courage from Alice's presence, spoke up softly. "My keys fell inside. I was reaching for them. This is my mom's car. I have the registration." But Walters ignored him, turning to Alice with forced authority. "Ma'am, Governor, I suggest you let us handle this." Alice stepped closer. "No, I suggest you explain to everyone here with cameras rolling why this young man is being treated like a threat while simply standing by his own vehicle." The crowd grew louder, voices rising in support. Yeah, why him? This is wrong. Sergeant Miller arrived then, pulling up in another patrol car. He stepped out, took one look at Alice, and his expression changed. Madam Governor, he said cautiously. What's going on here? Walters tried to interject, but Miller held up a hand. Alice recounted the scene calmly, pointing out the lack of evidence, the raised hands, the unnecessary escalation. Miller turned to Walters. Uncuff him, now! The click of the handcuffs coming off echoed like freedom itself. The crowd erupted in applause. Jamal rubbed his wrists, tears in his eyes as he whispered, Thank you. Alice placed a hand on his shoulder. You're safe now, son, but we have work to do to make sure this doesn't happen again. As the officers backed down, Alice addressed them directly. By tomorrow, I want a full report on my desk, and expect an independent investigation into this department's practices. This isn't a misunderstanding, it's a pattern, and it stops here. The crowd cheered louder. Social media exploded, videos going viral within minutes, hashtags like Justice for Jamal trending nationwide. But let's pause here and think deeper about why this moment matters so much. Stories like Jamal's aren't rare. They're part of a larger history of racial profiling that has plagued our communities for generations. Think about it. How many young black men and women have been stopped, searched, humiliated, or worse, simply for driving while black or existing while black? Studies show that black drivers are stopped more often than white drivers, searched more frequently, yet less likely to have contraband. It's not about crime. It's about bias baked into the system. Alice Brooks knew this all too well. Growing up in a segregated neighborhood, she'd seen her father arrested during peaceful protests. He'd spent nights in jail for daring to demand equal rights. Those stories shaped her. When she ran for governor, her platform was built on reform. Body cameras mandatory, training on implicit bias, community oversight boards. But seeing it happen in real time to a kid who reminded her of her own nephew ignited something fierce. As Jamal reunited with his worried mother, who had rushed to the scene after a frantic call, Alice spoke to the cameras that had gathered. Today, we witnessed accountability in action. But one intervention isn't enough. We need systemic change. Every officer must remember, power comes with responsibility. Justice must be blind to color, wealth, or status. The aftermath was swift. Officer Walters faced suspension pending investigation. The department announced new training programs. Jamal's story inspired town halls across the state, with young people sharing their experiences. Alice visited Jamal's school, speaking to students about resilience and standing up. Fear can paralyze us, she told them, but courage is contagious. One voice can spark a movement. Months later, reforms passed. Bans on pretextual stops for minor infractions, data collection on traffic stops to track disparities. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. Jamal went on to college, majoring in criminal justice, determined to become part of the solution. This story reminds us that change often starts with one person refusing to look away. Alice could have walked past, stayed anonymous, but she chose to act, driven by empathy and a sense of duty. In a world full of division, moments like these restore faith. They show that good people, in positions of power or not, can make a difference. What about you? Have you ever witnessed injustice and spoken up, or felt the weight of bias yourself? These stories aren't just entertainment, they're calls to action. They motivate us to be better, to demand better. If this tale of bravery and justice touched your heart, if it made you think about the world we live in, do me a favor. Smash that like button to let the algorithm know stories like this matter. Share this video with friends, family, anyone who needs a reminder that one stand can change lives. And subscribe right now to Real Life Stories Now. Let's grow this community to 10,000 subscribers and beyond. Together, we can keep these powerful, motivating stories alive, inspiring real change one view at a time. Remember, you have the power to stand up just like Alice did. Your voice matters. Never underestimate it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.